How's it going, boys? In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at some guns in World at War Zombies that aren't necessarily bad, but they're just never used since most players would rather run meta weapons like the ray gun, PPSH, MG42, and so on. We'll be taking a look at stats as well, both unupgraded and upgraded. If you want to see more top 5s and top 10s on other COD zombie games, feel free to leave it in the comments below. And without wasting any more time, let's get right to it. Coming in at number 5, we have the double-barreled shotgun. In my opinion, this is the better shotgun between the two, the other one being the trench gun, but for some reason it doesn't get utilized enough. The double-barreled shotgun comes with a base damage of 200 and when upgraded does a base damage of 400, while the trench gun comes with a base damage of 160 and when upgraded does 300. The double-barreled shotgun comes with a fire rate of 212 rounds per minute, which isn't bad by any means, it's just limited by being a double-barreled shotgun. It comes with 2 shells and 60 in reserve, both unupgraded and upgraded, which share similar stats with the trench gun as 6 shells and 60 in reserve unupgraded and 10 shells 60 in reserve when upgraded. The reload speed is also fairly quick in World at War standards with a solid 3 seconds to reload half empty and 4 seconds when empty. Enhance that with speed cola and you'll barely be able to tell you're reloading the gun. All around, the double-barreled shotgun is definitely on the upper tier in terms of damage and mobility. If you haven't given it a try yet, I'd definitely recommend booting up Durreese and using it. I promise you'll have a good time. Coming in at number 4, we have the MP40. Now, we all use the MP40, but when we think of it, we think of a point machine, so we abandon it pretty early on for almost anything else. But when it's Pack-a-Punch, you actually get some pretty decent buffs. The MP40 comes with a base damage of 60 to 100 depending on where your shots land, with a headshot multiplier of 4 times and a 1 times multiplier to the chest and abdomen. The upgraded version has a base damage of 120 to 200, a headshot multiplier of 5 times and a 1 times multiplier to the chest and abdomen. The unupgraded MP40 comes with a fire rate of 535 rounds per minute and 600 rounds per minute when upgraded, which is quite slow for an SMG, but it definitely makes up for it in power compared to most of the SMGs. It has a mag size of 32 and 192 in reserve, and when Pack-a-Punch, the reserves stay the same but the mag size increases to 64. The reload speed is pretty standard for SMGs at 2.3 seconds and 2.9 seconds when empty. I really can't stress enough how underrated this gun is when upgraded. To put it into perspective, it has the same stats as a bar, which sounds bad on paper, until you realize the fire rate's almost double the amount, making it an actual viable weapon to use in the mid rounds. I know we all use the MP40 on early rounds, but trust me, keep it a little longer and give it a Pack-a-Punch, you won't be disappointed. And at number 3, we have the M1A1 Carbine. I know this one's a shocker to most of you out there. With it being a starter weapon, you really don't expect much out of it. But surprisingly enough, on paper, it's actually a very solid weapon, Pack-a-Punch. While I was gathering footage for this gun, I came to realize, wow, this gun actually drops zombies. The M1A1 does a base damage of 80 to 120, with a headshot multiplier of 2.7, 2 times multiplier to the chest, and 1 times multiplier to the abdomen. When Pack-a-Punch, the damage goes up to a generous 150 to 200 damage, with an insane headshot multiplier of 6 times, 2 times to the chest, and 1 times to the body. To put it simple, this gun outperforms weapons like the STG in almost every single way. The fire rate's actually quite solid for a semi-auto at 444 rounds per minute and upgraded a more generous 600 rounds per minute, which also turns automatic. I think the biggest problem with this gun has to be the ammo, which has 15 rounds and 120 in reserve and when upgraded 15 rounds and 150 in reserve. The reload's actually quite nice at 2.9 seconds and 3.7 seconds when empty. All in all, the main things holding this gun back from being amazing is the mag size and its inconsistent fire rate when upgraded. If given a default mag size of 30 when upgraded, this gun would definitely be top tier. But even then, I think this is a weapon that's heavily slept on and is a lot of fun to use. We are almost at the end, boys. At number 2, we have the Type 100. This gun to me is the most forgotten SMG in World at War, mainly being due to bad gun placement and the fact that it shares similar stats with most SMGs, so it's like, why get this? But that doesn't take away how solid the gun is. The Type 100 has a base damage of 60 to 100. Now it isn't all that great, but it comes with an above average headshot multiplier of 4 times, and the 1 times multiplier to the chest and abdomen. Now the Pack-a-Punch version has double the base damage at 120 to 200, with an even better headshot multiplier of 5.5, and again, a 1 times multiplier to the chest and abdomen. The fire rate's also pretty solid for an SMG at 750 rounds per minute and 923 rounds per minute when Pack-a-Punched. The mag size is pretty standard at 30 rounds and 160 in reserve, or when Pack-a-Punch is 60 rounds and 220 in reserve. It also has a quick reload speed of 2.25 seconds and 2.75 seconds when empty. This is definitely one of those guns that's perfectly viable but is hindered by the gun's location. If this gun was where the Thompson was in Durreese, we'd for sure be seeing it used more. Coming in at number 1, what I deem to be the most underrated gun in World at War, the 357 Magnum. Now I know this gun is used quite often, but it's rarely used in the upper mid and later rounds since it gets ditched for the ray gun and anything else really. The Magnum comes with a base damage of 300 to 1000, meaning if you land your headshots, you basically got yourself a mini PTRS as they both have 1000 damage. It has a headshot multiplier of 1.5 because anything beyond that would honestly be broken. It also has a 1.1 times multiplier to the chest and a 1 times multiplier to the abdomen. Now the upgraded version sees a considerable jump in base damage up to 600 to 1000. Where this gun shines the most is in the headshot multiplier, getting a hefty 3 times multiplier, which doesn't sound like much compared to other weapons on the list, but considering it can deal up to 1000 damage, it really is quite a big multiplier, with a slightly higher chest multiplier of 1.5 and a 1 times multiplier to the abdomen. The Magnum has quite a slow fire rate of 187 rounds per minute, which is kind of a good thing considering how much kick this gun has. As for ammo, it has quite a lot of 6 in the chamber and 8 in reserve for both versions of the gun. The reload animation is also quite short at 3 seconds. When upgraded, the Magnum also gets longer range. The reason I chose this as the most underrated gun is simply because I hear a lot of people talking about this gun, but then I never see anyone use it past round 20 for the most part. If you pick your shots correctly, this gun has insane potential, as do a lot of the guns on this list. They're all underrated because of a small hindrance, but if used correctly, they're just as good, if not better, than some of the more meta weapons in World at War. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this top 5. If you disagreed with any of the guns on this list, feel free to leave it in the comments below. And if you want to see more top 5s and top 10s, feel free to leave any suggestions in the comments as well. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.